Hi, it's Eric here at Peachtree Classic Cars, and this is a 1964 Chevrolet C10 pickup truck. It's a Fleetside custom cab big back window truck, which is about as loaded as you could get back in the day. It's got a V8, and I believe it's like a 92 model. We replaced the starter, and it's still got just a touch of starter drag. We put a couple shims, took them back out, and I'll tell you, you just barely touch the key and it fires right up so well that it is not dragging much. You can just hear it, and I would call it, I hate to say this, but I would call it kind of normal for these old Chevys. In fact, the guy that was helping me with the starter, he's got a Nova, and he said, oh, my Nova does the exact same thing. I said, yeah, I know, we hear it all the time, but want to, you know, disclose everything. But awesome truck, great mechanical condition. In fact, the only thing we've had to replace was the starter. And you hear that, I mean, I'm almost maybe making a big deal out of it when I shouldn't be, but the engine sounds awesome. Side exhaust pipes, automatic. This engine runs super strong, tons of power. Transmission shifts smoothly through all the gears. Steers perfectly straight. Nice and easy. Speedometer is not hooked up, pretty common for these old trucks. And I can't say that the fuel gauge, I'm not sure, is working. It bounces some. I have not, we're told, we're actually instructed not to put too much gas in these for shipping. So, and we ship almost every vehicle we sell. So I haven't put enough gas in there to tell for sure, but I can see it bouncing even when I push the brakes. You can see the needle move. Anyways, this truck steers amazing. I mean, super easy steering around the cul-de-sac. I love that it has seat belts. I meant to say too, brake stop straight and true. I didn't punch the brakes there without taking my foot off. I mean, my hand off the steering wheel, but the brake stopped straight and true. And in fact, I believe they were just serviced. Awesome exhaust. Be quiet there for a second, let you hear the motor run. Rust-free inner fender wells. Firewall appears to be in great shape. Heater core and heater box is still all hooked up and functional, which is nice. Matching Edelbrock's. These are the tall valve covers, which are kind of cool. Nice engine detail. New water pump, actually. New water pump and new starter. Long tube headers. Manual brakes still on the old single bowl system, and power steering. And actually, a lot of people don't know this. Upgrading to power brakes is actually not too complicated or expensive. So they actually make a system that you can put on here, and it literally is basically a bolt-on. Hood is in great shape. And actually the body lines on this truck are great. Nice and straight car, or truck, I mean. I'm still waking up, guys. It's early, and I'm trying to beat this huge storm that's about to blow in. Supposedly we're getting hail and tornadoes and all kinds of stuff. So I've got to get this thing back in the shop and undercover. Very straight body lines all the way around. The little dots on the side are not my favorite, and most guys are going to probably say the same thing. Maybe some guys are going to say, hey, that looks cool. The reason that was done is because when they were doing the restoration, that side piece, those side pieces of trim are out of stock. And actually, I think the last time I looked, they're still way on back order. So by the time we're trying to, it wasn't me, but by the time we're trying to get that trim in and install it and have the proper trim installed, it could be a few months before we get that in stock. So the previous owner decided to put the little buttons on it, and I say it's not my favorite. It's true, but it actually still looks cool. So not trying to contradict myself, but you know, to take a step back on a truck like this, it looks really cool. If it was me and I was owning this truck, the first thing I'd do is hop online and order the trim pieces. They're really easy to install, and they're not too expensive. So these tires look great. Beauty rings look good. Plenty of tread. And walking around the body on this, I mean, couple tiny little spots. I mean, it is a driver. 2 tiny little spots there. I think this paint is actually only about a year old or so. I don't think it's super old. Driver quality. Rear bumper painted as well. And no dings or dents to mention. I don't see any paint pops. Okay, here we go. There's a little bit of paint imperfection here, and it's really tough to see unless you get right up on it. There we go. I'm going to try to hold the camera still. Just a few cracks there. You can see about the size of my finger. Maybe about that much right there. And man, I really had to get close to find that. Front and rear bumpers painted to match. Front grille looks awesome, and that doesn't look like it's painted. That actually looks like that's still pot metal or stainless. Glass is in awesome condition. Windshield wipers work. I don't see any cracks on the glass anywhere at all. Windows roll up and down. Door panels look good. Older velour. They look really good. Matching sun visors. Brand new upholstery on the seat. Excuse me. Does have seat belts, which is nice. And I just lost my seat belts. Pulling them back. The seat. Dash is in great shape. And somebody put an old, tape player in. It looks like back in the 80s. Aftermarket gauges are functional. And I believe little heater button. Oh, I think what they did. Well, I thought that the heater worked. And it may need a new switch here. This little switch is actually, I'm noticing this now. You can see this. This little switch has got a little spark up. There it goes. See that little spark? I think I'd replace that heater switch because I seem to remember the heater working. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so that's a good thing. The heater works, just needs a switch. Beautiful bedwood in the back. And this is actually like a bed that sits up just a hair off the original bed. The steel bed is still underneath this, but man, I love the way this is done. It's beautiful. I'm absolutely in love with big back window trucks. They're hard to find. We buy a lot of C10s. And even the Tri-5 Chevy trucks that are available in back windows are incredibly hard to find, the bigger window trucks compared to the small window trucks. I always tease people and say I feel like I'm driving around in an aquarium in these things. It's just all glass all the way around, no blind spots. Rockers are amazing. Bottoms of the doors look great. I mean, I can't even believe that these are the original cab corners. It blows my mind how clean it is under here. And it has been undercoated for protection. These appear to be the original floor pans. Cab mounts are in great shape. No rust that I see. It does have these fairly aggressive exhausts. These are the little shorty Flowmaster cans that people put on. Really solid underneath. Also, I want to make sure I pointed out, Oh, actually there is wood. Old wood bed under there. Not steel. So there is actually an old wood bed under this new wood bed. I mean, these are the spots when I'm shopping for these trucks, looking for these vehicles for customers. This is what I'm looking back here. I'm looking back here. I'm looking at cab corners. I'm almost more concerned about under the truck than I am the body, because I don't want to see a bunch of rust or imperfections or anything compromised. And so looking at a truck like this just makes me so happy to see that somebody's taken care of this truck over the years. Again, these rockers on this side are in great shape, appear to be the original cab corners. This one has got a couple of little rust holes right there. Not a huge deal. Cab mounts are in great shape. Like I said, no rust that I can see on the frame. Older shocks. The ride on this is very good. It's very smooth. It's funny, I actually started another video earlier and messed it up, so I restarted, but I was saying, you know, I started my business about 15 years ago on the inner fender wells here, by the way, are in awesome shape. Started this business 15 years ago, mostly 40s and 50s models, Fords and Chevys, we call them, you know, post-war trucks especially. And I have just fallen in love with 60s models and even 70s now, getting into a little bit newer vintage for us. The ride is so much smoother, the cab is bigger, the bed is bigger. The V8 is available versus our old little, 6-cylinder friends back in the day. So anyways, this is a beautiful truck. It's really ready to jump in and drive. It needs nothing. If I owned it, I would put a different radio in it. I like the original looking ones with the Bluetooth, the vintage stereo look, and not much more. Maybe that little heater switch, but man, this truck really doesn't need anything to be driven and enjoyed, just like it is. It's ready to go, turnkey. Give us a call. We're at PeachtreeClassicCars.com, and we look forward to hearing from you.